Right, YouTube, Shadow King King Nazru. And unlike my Dragon Ball Super Hero trailer reaction, like I said in that video, this one's not going to be all that pleasant. So, this video is basically going to be about me ranting about some things that have happened recently. I feel the first matter of order is that Funimation has been merged in with Crunchyroll. Now, if you've been watching me recently, you know that I've lost my respect for Funimation for about the past couple of years. Did the whole Vic Mignogna thing, and for anyone who doesn't know, I stand with Vic because I actually believe he's innocent, and all the accusations that Funimation made against him were most of, if not all of them, were proven false, and that it only helped expose some of the hypocrisy and scummy actions of the voice actors like Monica, Jamie Markey. I don't know if Rontoya is a voice actor, but he's married to her. Sean Schemmel, Chris Sabat, Chris Razor, Josh Martin, Brina Palencia, Colin Clickenbeard, so on and so forth. Uh, as for how I feel for the merger, I mean, on the one hand, I'm kind of technically glad Funimation's gone. I feel like this is uh, kind of what you reap, what kind of what God said in the Bible. You reap what you sow. Because Funimation has been spending a lot of time trying to hoard all the licenses to the different anime, and even started merging with Viz Media. And I think also Aniplex kind of has is working with if not for Funimation, because they're collaborating on dubbing Demon Slayer, and not to mention some of the people who work with Aniplex. Some of the voice actors there, they also work on Attack on Titan, but only for Funimation to get absorbed into Crunchyroll. Uh, Now Crunchyroll has its own mess of problems. We all remember the uh, horrible show that was High Guardian Spice. Uh, Poorly produced, poorly written. Uh, Art style was mediocre, focusing more on modern social issues rather than trying to build the fantasy world and its rules and characters, and it just kind of led to a piss poor project. Now the but let's not go too into deep in that. We also got to remember that Crunchyroll did also lied to its fan base because they said that they wanted them to donate their money uh, to Crunchyroll so that it could be transferred over to the animators in Japan and help them out and hopefully make better products. Lord knows Mappa could have used that back in part one of season 4 of Attack on Titan because, yeah, there was definitely some corners cut there. But no, that actually went into Crunchyroll's whole project of High Guardian Spy. So yeah, very, very horrendous move. So yeah, so basically Crunchyroll's getting a whole monopoly on anime, which is making it feel very monotonous. But I think we talked enough about that. But going back to Funimation, we have another issue. Apparently, Damon Mills uh, has been reported that he, in his past, back when he was like in his 20s, had sexually uh, sexually taken advantage of a 15-year-old boy. So yes, this is a minor, and Basically, uh, Damon Mills is apparently a pedo. I'm not sure if YouTube's gonna punish me for saying these kind of things, but it has to be said. So he took advantage of a minor, and his victim was trying to hold him accountable for it. And apparently there were a whole bunch of texts confirming this. But he later dropped the charges due to Damon Mills threatening to take legal action against him. Now, whether you want to believe that Damon Mills was innocent or was actually guilty of this and thus a scumbag, what definitely is scummy is what Funimation's response to this, especially compared to the Vic Mignogna thing. If Damon Mills is guilty, this would have been the fourth time that they hired a pedo. We had that Scott Freeman thing where he was caught with child pornography. There was another guy who sent pictures of his genitalia on Discord. And he was a very obscure actor, barely had anything to his name. Then there was also the other guy who married a minor, one of his acting students. I believe that's what the case. So that would have been. So if Damon Mills was the case, that would have been the fourth time they actually hired a legit pedo, which is terrible. But more so, the fact is how Funimation reacted, because unlike with Vic Mignogna, once they heard these reports and allegations, they immediately tried to get rid of him, fired him, tried to several times, and start this whole Kick Vic thing alongside people on the internet like Mars Girl, Linkar. I think Linkar is part of Kick Vic. I don't know. But definitely a lot of internet celebrities. When it came to Damon Mills, they say, they either remain silent or say, it's all in the past, or they said they want to wait until he's actually proven to be guilty. And I'm like, are you serious right now? When it came to Vic Mignogna, you guys were more than willing and ready to throw him under the bus in several times, especially a lot of people he considered friends back then. But when it comes to Damon Mills, he gets the benefit of the doubt. Now, this is obviously blatant hypocrisy, and I would have asked what the deal was from some of the actors like Monica or Jane Markey, but because I stand with Vic and I've held some of these actors accountable for their hypocrisy, I've been pretty much blocked by a good chunk of the actors like Monica, Jamie. I think Sean Schimmel blocked me too. I don't know. I had to go back. Chris Sabat, so on and so forth. So yeah, with only like a few select actors, I'm not on good terms with Funimation. But again, the feeling's mutual because a lot of these, because like with a few exceptions, a good chunk of Funimation has terrible people in it. But I think what's been said was that the reason why they were so willing to get rid of Vic Mignogna was because of what kind of person he was. He was a Christian and a white man, and a lot of the actors didn't really like that he was a Christian. Chris Sabat and Sean Schimmel kind of mocked him for it, which is pretty awful. And I could kind of believe that because Funimation has some very, very you've been following Funimation for a while. You know what their politics are, and they've pretty much inserted in some of their anime, like Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Prison School, Interview with Interspecies. I think that's what it's called. And they try to insert modern left-leaning politics into the anime. And that pretty much goes against like some of the Christian values. Whereas suppose Damon Mills apparently Well, apparently he's part of the LGBT community, and thus they're more willing to defend him, and that just really just shows what kind of twisted morals they are. Uh, just because someone's part of that community does not mean that they are exempt from being held accountable for their actions and not being held responsible for crimes. This is not Batwoman, where being gay exempts you from being a criminal. If you've done a crime, which this would be a case if it's true, you have to take responsibility and turn yourself in, or let the police take you in for custody, and take you into custody and have you face charges for your crimes. Uh, I mean, it just really shows what terrible things are being done at Funimation. And honestly, at this point, I can't in good conscience ever support Funimation financially, or if at all. I mean, if I was ever to watch a dubbed anime, I would just try to find some way to watch it for free. Uh, but moving from that, I think the next order of business is talking about the Oscars that just happened I mean, like either last week or so, I think. And it's all about, we all know that what happened. It was basically just a standard stuff. It was, the Oscars have pretty much gone on the decline because it's not entertaining. It's mostly about the actors being so self-congratulatory and again just trying to insert their own ideologies into into these awards and into entertainment, which is really annoying. But truly the highlight was when Chris Rock came up and made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, basically saying he's looking forward to seeing her in G.I. Jane 2, which is pretty much a reference to her receding hair because she has alopecia. And a lot of the actors were laughing, including Will Smith, but Jada Pinkett Smith was not amused by it, and we could tell that Will probably saw this and decided to defend his wife's honor, and proceeded to walk up on stage and slap Chris Rock, and told him and shouted at at Chris Rock to keep his wife's name out his have a mouth. And this pretty much divided both the people at the Oscars as well as the general audience. Some people think that Will Smith did the right thing. He was protecting his wife's honor, and that's how a man should be. They should, if anyone insults their woman, they should go up there and handle business. And other people say that no, this was very impulsive, stupid, and uh, this is going to really damage Will Smith's reputation and career. Uh, I can see both kind of perspectives, but at the same time, I'm leaning more towards the latter. I mean, this was really, really impulsive of Will Smith. I mean, for one thing, it was just a mild joke. Chris Rock wasn't trying to be all that offensive. I mean, there have been comedians who've said far worse than that. And second of all, I can't really tell if Chris Rock knew that Jada Pinkett Smith had alopecia. I mean, if he did, that was not a cool thing to do. But at the same time, it wasn't that harsh. Um, and on the other thing, if you were going to do this, at least have the common sense to do this while it was on commercial, and you could take Chris Rock somewhere private and then confront him about the whole situation. Not do it in public where everybody has evidence of you doing this, and this can ruin your reputation, which it certainly already is because a lot of studios are canceling their movie deals with Will Smith, despite the fact that he still got the Tempest Oscars, and he's apparently made an apology to Chris Rock. Though whether the authenticity about that is debatable. But yeah, a lot of people are mixed. Some people think he's a hero. Other people think he's sorry. Other people think that what he did was wrong and immature. And then you got these third people that are more like the latter, but they're trying to make it more about themselves. Looking at you, Amy Schumer and Wanda Sykes. I swear you two are very unfunny people and very narcissistic. Um, but honestly, I think this is much deeper. I don't think it's just about Chris Rock making that joke. I think it's more deep rooted in some problems with between Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith's marriage. Because for those of you who don't know, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith are in a open marriage, which means that they're both allowed to sleep with other people, and I think that that's kind of having a toll. And so yeah, Will's kind of a literally he's literally a cuck, literal cuck. But um, this is if this is really is the root of the situation. One, you should not have done that. I mean, there's a reason the Bible says that thou should not commit adultery. I mean, it kind of causes these kinds of problems. Um, Personally, I think Will should get some get some help, go see a therapist, and try to actually have a more solid foundation for his marriage, and try to make better decisions while we're at it. But I think I've talked enough about that, and now we go into the final bit. And a lot of people, so there might be some of you who might not care about this if you're not religious. Um, but as someone who is a Christian, this does need to be addressed too. So a few days ago, Marvel released their latest X-Men comic, or at the very least, released news about it. And the main thing about it is that they have retconned Jesus Christ, yes, the Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, the Messiah, the Anointed One, the Son of God, God in the flesh, and all that. They have retconned him into being a ancient mutant. And yeah. So he none of his powers are from his divine status as being the Son of God, being part of the Holy Trinity. It's all because he's a mutant. And I imagine this is just more of Marvel's anti-religious agenda, which they have been going on for quite a while now. I mean, we've had Dan Slott try to make Spider-Man an atheist. We have a lot of writers who worked at Marvel or DC or Image have made anti-Christian stuff. Uh, it also adds salt to the wound that it's close to Easter, one of the most important holidays in the Christian faith. Now, even if you're not a Christian and you still think this is insulting, if you're a Marvel fan, like a real Marvel fan, is deep into the lore, you would still think this was stupid. For one, this the Christian God does exist in Marvel. He's known as the one above all. That is supposed to be their version of the Judeo-Christian God, and been featured multiple times throughout the decades. He was even in the final issue of the Immortal Hulk, where it was revealed that Hulk is basically uh, an agent of God's, supposed to be an agent of God's wrath, and supposed to be and it's supposed to come out whenever he feels that destruction is necessary just for creation renew. It's a little complicated to explain, but that's pretty much the gist of it. So there's pretty much by turning Jesus, who's supposed to be God in the flesh, all man and all God, into basically just a mutant. Not only are you insulting the faith, you're also uh, contradicting your own lore. And furthermore, you're making Jesus seem like an insane person or a liar, or both, because he was supposed to be teaching all these things about peace, love, uh, living righteously, turning away from sin, and being the only way to get to have a reconciled relationship with God, and through his sacrifice of living a sinless life. And you just undone that for what I can only speculate to be for an anti-religious agenda. Uh, so, and this makes so little sense to do. Furthermore, it's also kind of hypocritical because I would pretty much always highly doubt that they would pull this off with another religion like Islam. If they tried to do this with Muhammad, that not only there would be backlash from uh, the Muslim community, they probably might get death threats from Muslim terrorists. I can't imagine them doing this to Hindus, uh, people who worship Chinese or Japanese faith, maybe, but I doubt. But I have my doubts about that too, because they'll just seem intolerant. This that. I mean, the only way they could probably get away with it is with Thor, or I mean Thor in this Norse mythology, or with Greek mythology, because those are pretty much for the most part those are pretty much dead religions. But I feel like the only reason that they went with that is because not only did they have a huge hatred towards Christianity, but they also feel like they can get away with it because Christians are supposed to be more pacifistic. But regardless, this is not going to do you favors, Marvel. You're already, with all your modern comics and how horribly they're doing, you've already started bleeding readers and already causing comic book shops to shut down on a massive scale. You've already lost millions, and the only thing that's keeping you afloat is like the MCU and Disney, which aren't doing that well either as of Phase 4 and some other Disney's projects. Uh, but furthermore, you're alienating another portion of your audience, which is Christians, which, may I remind you, is the dominant religion. So they might not make many violent backlash, but a good chunk of them may decide to walk away from your comic industry and look for some other place for entertainment. So yeah, that's on you. You're just gonna be death by a thousand cuts with you, Marvel. I mean, I pretty much always already severed ties with you because of all the things you've done lately. But this was just another justification to do so. Uh, I think that's pretty much everything I had to say on these things. If you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments down below. I'll catch you mortals later.